talk about that in just a second. Good morning, everybody, and Noodlers. Welcome to Wednesday, February 18th, 2015, the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Training number 82. Good morning, John. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. I've been on a little hiatus. I wasn't able to join the group on Friday or on Monday. Oh, I just used that word. I meant New Op Day. But it's Wednesday morning, and I'm glad to be back. I actually had the opportunity to go on the cruise with actually several real estate investors and wholesalers, and it was amazing mastermind session that I was able to partake in, talking about everything from personal development to goal setting to wholesaling to rehabbing to how to pick up chicks. Really, it was freaking awesome. But I'm glad.
Always got to be some picking up chicks talk when there's a bunch of guys, hanging around.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You know who is more gung ho about picking up chicks were the married guys, pushing the single guys like me to pick up chicks so that they can live vicariously through our stories. That's the funny part to me.
Yeah, that's what us married guys have to do. We can't be risking the wife finding out about anything. So we just gotta, let you guys get out there and do it. Push you on, egg you on, get out there, yeah, man, do it, go, go, go. And
it's funny, hanging out with a bunch of wholesalers, which are a little bit different mindset than your average real estate investors. A lot of the average real estate investors that are buying deals, but they're not out there negotiating sellers on the front end like Paul and I do, have a different mentality when it comes to closing, because it's a very personal endeavor for us to close, because we're talking with the sellers directly. We've got to make them realize or persuade them to why selling to us is the best possible option for us, and the investors really just show up with their money. The mentality of wholesalers in a group while you're out trying to pick up chicks is amazing, because we approach it like every business transaction, and it's just like dating and picking up women, or if you're a girl picking up guys, it's very similar to a wholesale transaction. It's just persuasion and sales. It's a lot of fun though. But anyways, enough about that, and welcome to the hangout here on Wednesday, February 18th already. It's unbelievable that we're already coming to the end of the second month of the year. And I just want to ask you, are you close to completing your goals for the first half of the first quarter, which it's already over? And if not, why? And have you stuck to your New Year's resolutions? Yeah, I'm very curious to know, Paul, how people are doing out there.
Well, I'm doing great, because I don't make any of those wasted time, BS, do nothing, fail, set yourself up to fail New Year's resolutions. I might go out there and create a plan and set some goals, but I'm not going to make any kind of New Year's resolution. Sorry, folks. So I win. How about you?
You know what? I am doing great. One of the things that I would like to talk about today is goal setting. And the reason I'd like to talk about that is because it was a big key component to what I masterminded with about 15 people on this cruise, was about setting goals and what that looks like. And not just setting goals, but writing them down, but in a certain way to map out your future. And I just think this is a great thing to share with anyone out there that's watching this, whether or not you're whether or not you want to invest in real estate, or you want to join the Property Noodler team, or you're here for wholesale real estate training. This is something that I think people from every walk of life, doesn't matter what business you're in or whether you're an employee, no matter where you are in life, you're getting nowhere if you don't have goals in life, dreams, goals. And if you don't have these goals written down, they're nothing more than ideas, and ideas, unless written down, are forgotten. So I thought maybe today, Paul, that we could talk about goal setting and
Yeah.
the importance of having goals clearly defined, written down, and set.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to bash on the New Year's resolution people real quick for 1 second because I would imagine that 99.9% of you have failed on your New Year's resolution. And you know what? I challenge you to go back and think about what that was and pick it up. Do it again. Hey, we all fail in this life. So, but you get knocked down, what do? You just lay there and you just lay there and cry? No, you got to get back up. You got to get back in the game. So, hey, if you had a New Year's resolution and you failed, slap yourself upside the head for being a wimp and for failing. But you know what? Start it over again. Start a President's Day resolution and begin today what you started on January 1st and try it again. And if you know what, if you get another 2 weeks down the road and you fail, next month, I don't know what the holiday is next month, but March, isn't that start a St. Patty's Day resolution and start your resolution over again and keep doing it until you freaking get it. If it's something you want to do, just get out there and do it and keep doing it until you get it right. Because, I mean, that's the only way you're going to change things and the only way your life is going to change things. As far as goals go, John, I'm going to say that, yeah, it's definitely something that you want to do. And an awesome way to get yourself with setting up your goals is to really just sit back you got to take time to do this, first of all. Most people don't even take time to do this, but you really got to set aside some time, turn off the phones, put yourself in a comfortable place. Don't lock yourself in a room where you're in a box and your creativity is squandered. Sit outside under a tree with the birds chirping, or go to the beach, or whatever. I mean, if you got a room in your house that just you feel comfortable in and you enjoy being in that, find a place where you feel good to start with. I mean, if you're going to set goals, you don't want to be setting your goals from a place of misery, because you're going to set miserable goals, okay? You want to be setting your goals from a place of where you feel really good, because what you ultimately want to do is feel really good about these goals you're setting and build excitement towards going towards them. So find yourself a great spot to do it in. And then the first thing you just want to do really is just think about, I mean, the very first thing, I think John's going to start with 5 years from now, and just think, what do I really want? What do you really want? Most people don't even think about what they really want, ever. You go out and ask people on the street, hey, what do you really want? Okay, oh, I want lots of money. Okay, I mean, most people don't have any idea what they really want. So just start with that, very general, and maybe project yourself 5 years into the future if that'll help you to determine what you really want now by thinking ahead. Where would I like to be in 5 years? What do I really want? So, I mean, just starting in a general nature, because goal setting is great, and most people get advice of, you have to be very specific and do all these things, and you want to be specific, of course, but you can be very general in nature too, especially when you're starting this out. It's not an easy thing. Most people, they might write down some goals that I'm going to, in 60 days I want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, great. But do they put up a plan to go with that and that sort of thing? So 60 days to 5 pounds might be something that works for your long-term goal. But you want to think, like I said, just to start with, just think of the general. What the heck do I really want out of this life? And begin with that, and then from there we'll talk about narrowing it down. John?
Excellent, Paul, excellent. I just want to start off where I'm going to take this by saying that this is something that could take multiple hangouts to really get in depth with. I would even like to challenge Paul and myself to maybe this might be something we talk about on Friday, because there could be a grander vision to this whole thing. And there's a system for everything. One of the things we talk about with coming on the team as a noodler is that we are going to teach you a system, right? Well, just as we have a system in business, and our system for noodling, and our system for going out and scoring and finding great deals and creating income on a monthly basis, there's a system for goal setting. there's a system for creating, and you've heard me and Paul mention it many times over, your definite major purpose. So, I mean, what I'm going to get into a little bit here today is the beginnings and the outlines of a system you could use in order to create your goals, your vision, and your definite major purpose for your life. So I think it's important to realize that, we're probably not going to get through all of this in a 20-minute, 30-minute hangout. But
No, because I'm gonna interrupt you one quick second before you get started into the nuts and bolts of it, and I'm gonna throw just a little bit more theory behind it, and I'm gonna ask people to say now that not only are you thinking about what it is that you really, really want, now you also want to think about why you really, really want it. Okay, what is the purpose? What's the driving force that's going to keep? Because that's what it is. That's what the why is. That's the driving force that's going to take you there and keep you on track. And then also too, this one might seem a little bit odd, but think about, okay, why don't I have it already? Because that's really kind of where the problem lies with us is, we want things, we've always wanted things, but why don't we have them? Okay, so we need to start figuring out, on a side note, you need to start figuring out, what it is, what's holding you back, why you don't have these things. So in thinking about what do I really, really want, why do I really, really want it, and why don't I already have it? So go ahead, John, back to you.
That's great. I hope everybody's taking notes on what Paul just said there. And let's just start by saying that this is a success. We're going to put together a success plan, if you will, a vision. And it starts with, as Paul mentioned, goals and your why. Why are you setting these goals? Where do you want to be? So the first thing about this is, I mean, I don't know if Paul's ever heard this acronym before, but, referring to it as you need to set SMART goals. Be smart about your vision. And SMART, as an acronym, the S in SMART stands for specific. You want to be specific about your goals. One of my goals is I want a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home with a pool on a 15,000 square foot lot. It's a 2,000 square foot home, and I'm specific about the details down to the color that the house is painted, as well as the color the interior is painted and the style of the home. Like, be real specific about your goal. I'm just using the house as an example, but you want to be specific about your goals. The more specific you are about your goals, the more realistic the goal is, and if you're specific about the goal, the easier it is to visualize and imagine yourself having already attained that goal. The second letter in the word SMART is M, which means measurable. Your goal has to be measurable, and by measurable I mean you need to know that you've accomplished your goal. Definition, let's go back to my example of my house. When I own the home, that's pretty measurable. I now am living in this home that I have imagined and set a goal to purchase to live in. So a measurable goal. If it's a money goal, it has to be a dollar amount set behind it. Like maybe your goal is, I want to start wholesaling and earn $10,000 a month by doing 1 to 2 deals a month. Okay, how do you know you accomplished the goal? The minute you sold the second house and you've got a $10,000 payday. So the goal has to be measurable, so you know that the goal has been accomplished. Okay, so then the third letter in the word SMART is attainable. A for attainable. Are your goals attainable? Set yourself up for success. Your goal right now, honestly, if you're just getting started in wholesale real estate, if you're an employee of a Circle K, I think it would be, you wouldn't be able to convince your mind of, I want to earn $1 billion in a year. You're setting yourself up for disaster. I got to be quite frankly with, I've been doing wholesale real estate, and if my goal was to make $1 billion in 1 year, I'm going to fail at the end of the year. I'm being realistic. Unless you have some way planned, and maybe you do, to make $1 billion in 1 year, we need to set attainable goals. Attainable goals. You set yourself up for success. And which leads us to the R, realistic. The goal has to be realistic. So so far you got a specific goal that's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, and finally we come to the T, which is timed. You must set a time limit for your goal. Now, and again, the time limit you set has to be attainable and realistic. So maybe you want to be a millionaire. You create a 2-3 year plan to make your million. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timed goals. Anything you want to throw in there, Paul?
I'll throw in that I completely agree and I disagree.
You know what? Okay. Then explain.
uh, okay, well, let's start with the smart. Specific. You want to make a specific physical, mental picture in your mind of exactly what you want. Yes, that is one great way of doing it. But the secondary way to do it is to really not be specific and just think that, you know what? I want to have a big, beautiful house that makes me feel comfortable, I'm happy in, my family enjoys living in this house, and it's, the right color that I want, and you don't have to be specific exactly down to the detail. You can be general in nature, you know what I mean, about your goal. And then the other thing about that too is you could take it even a step further and just say, I want your goal can pretty much kind of be that I want a dwelling where I feel good. Then that's pretty much it. I mean, just you can go off of a feeling. So I'm going to break it down. Just there's specific.
I disagree.
There's specific.
For a goal to be real, you can't just say I want to live in a beautiful. What does that beautiful house look like? How are you going to know the beautiful house is the beautiful house if you don't have a specific?
That's exactly the thing. See, you don't know. You're not that smart. You don't know when it's going to be the perfect right time for you to find that perfect house. You know what I'm saying? You're not that smart. You don't have control over the universe. So you have to, that's why, being specific,
I disagree, but okay.
being specific is, there's nothing wrong with being specific. You can definitely be specific. But, you might look at this, you might see that great house that looks like it, but it's not the right time for you to buy it, or whatever the case might be. There's a lot of variables in there. I'm just saying, I agree 100%. There's nothing wrong with being specific. I'm just saying there's other options as well, too. There's other ways to go about it. Okay, the measurability, 100%. You have to be able to see some results as you're growing step by step by step. You got to be able to experience and not only just experience the success, but celebrate it. You know what I mean? Woohoo! I learned how to tie my shoes today. I mean, no matter how simple it is, and that's the next thing in the attainability part of it, breaking it down so that your steps are very, very small, easy, incremental, attainable, one step at a time growth. That's awesome. So gives you lots of opportunities to celebrate and move forward and keep building upon your momentum. Because what this is all about here is momentum. All right, then the realistic part, yeah. I mean, just like John says, you can't start something out and say, I'm going to earn $1 billion in 1 year. Maybe it is realistic if you're a real smart person who can build some sort of software program that you can sell, and you can build it in 2 months, and you can have 8 months to 10 months to sell it. Maybe you could make $1 billion in a year, and that would be a realistic goal. But for me, I'm not going to make $1 billion in 1 year. I'm not going to set that goal. So yeah, whatever it is, just realistic. I mean, it's got to be something and the realistic thing comes down to the fact that basically, do you believe it? Do you actually believe that you can do it? Okay, that's the key element of the realistic part. If you can believe it, it's realistic. If you can sit there and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this goal right here, and then you sit back and look at it and you're going, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't have the money to do it. I don't know where the money's going to come from. I don't have the knowledge to put this together. I have no clue what's going on here. But that's my goal, and but I don't know how it's going to happen. You have doubt and worry and fear, and it's never going to happen. You have to be 100% belief that you can do it, and that's what creates a realistic goal, is your ability to believe in it. And then the time limit. This is another place where I disagree. The time limit is, again, it's great to set yourself a time limit, but time limits can be both good and bad because, I agree with the time limit, but it can go both ways. If you don't set a time limit, it's going to happen when it's going to be right for you. Okay, so and the nice thing about not setting time limits is you can kind of just every day go, you know what? I'm not sure what's going to happen today, but I know it's going to be good stuff, and it's probably something that I want. I don't know which piece it is that I want that's going to happen today, but I'm going to be really excited to see what it is that's going to happen today. And then when it happens, you're excited. There's no way to be let down. But if you said, you know what, today this is going to happen because I've set my time limit for that, and it doesn't happen, now you're let down, and now you're building fear and doubt within your achievability of this goal. So those are the only two things that I disagree a little bit on, and I'm not disagreeing that the way you presented it is wrong. It's perfectly fine to put a time limit on things, but you have to also you put the time limit there to give you something to strive towards, but
Absolutely.
you can't 100% expect that you're going to achieve it within that time frame, and if you don't, you can't let it allow you to get down or give up or change your direction or do whatever. You just have to say, okay, well, you know what? My thoughts of when was the perfect time for this to happen was wrong because I'm not that smart. But it is going to happen, and you know what? I just have to figure out what was it that I didn't do to get it done within this time frame, and that's what I need to now start doing so that I can get it done, say, within the next 30 days, whatever it is.
I agree. I agree with Paul on that, on the time limit thing, but I do think it's absolutely necessary to set some sort of time limit to a goal, because to me, if you don't have a goal set with an idea of the time frame, that you could, it's useless to me. Like one to say some. That's when you live on someday I'll. As Bill, what is his name? Brian Tracy talks about. Most people will, someday I'll own that beautiful home. Someday I'll make $1 million. And if you read T. Harv Eker, one of the things he talks about in The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is that you declare, if you want to be a millionaire and you're serious about that goal, you say, you need to set a realistic, attainable time frame to a goal and be like, I commit myself to making this goal, achieve this goal by this date. And it's been shown that people who don't set time frames to goals are less likely to achieve a goal than someone who sets a time frame. I'm not disagreeing with Paul because I also agree with what Paul said. That's the important thing is the time frame is because I believe in order to make a goal realistic and achievable, there has to be kind of an idea in mind of when you want this goal to take place. But there's something in life called correct and continue. You're going to have a plan when we get through this, which we probably won't today because this is a mastermind session. So it's good that me and Paul have this debate, because take from it what you will, and what resonates with you and works best for you is what you'll apply in your life. But don't beat yourself up. Like I mentioned that 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. I'd like to find this house in the next year. That was my goal a year ago. I haven't found the house that I've been picturing yet. And I'm not beating myself up about it because I was like, I'd like to find this house I'd like to be in this house by this time next year is my goal. But like Paul said, you don't always know when the universe is actually going to present you that home. I guess where you want to really be specific in the time frame is when we're talking about money. How much money, one of the things we'll get into is how much money do you want to earn on a monthly basis? It has to be a specific dollar amount, realistic, obviously it's measurable, it's a dollar amount, attainable, and timed. Like if you're starting a business, businesses have to set a time frame for the goal of the business. Like I'm not going to start a business and be like, one day this business is going to make $1 million. What investor is going to, I'm going to invest in this guy's idea because someday he's going to make $1 million. He's like, what's your business plan? What's your time frame? When are you going to make this money? So there is a strong importance to having the goal timed, but just as Paul said, things don't always go according to plan, where the whole concept of correct and continue comes in. And as long as you're working towards these goals and you're getting closer, and you maybe if you don't hit your exact time frame, it's you've got to be I guess strong-willed or enough of a warrior to say, hey, you know what? Maybe there was a flaw in my plan that I need to correct and continue. And you set a new time frame from the goal in light of where you are in your steps. But there has to be some sort of time frame because you have to move yourself or put yourself in a position to get things done.
Well,
So
I think what the time frame does, is you put a time frame on it. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the time frame. What the time frame does is it creates your commitment. It locks you into your commitment.
it locks you into your commitment. Yeah.
You're right. Now you've given yourself a time frame. You've given yourself something to get towards. The expectation of it actually happening, yes, you want to hold that. But as you get there and you find out that it didn't happen, such as John finding the house. Last year he made a commitment. This is my deal. I'm going to find this house and this is where I want to live. Well, the year ended, the house didn't happen, but it's not like he said, "Oh, well, shit. That was a stupid goal. I'm not going to pursue that anymore." It's just like, wait a second. Let me think about this. Now, I had set a goal to find this house in 1 year's time, and it didn't happen. So what did I not do? What didn't I do? Or what didn't I follow through with? Or what didn't happen for me? Or those types of things that didn't make this goal happen within the time frame that I had anticipated it happening in. And now, like John said, the correct and continue. Okay, well, from what I see, this didn't happen, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I still want to achieve that goal, so within this next time frame that I'm allotting myself to allow this to happen, I'm going to commit to making those things happen, and hopefully those will be the right things that need to take place for this goal to be achieved within this next time frame. And
right.
Again, even if you get to the end of that time frame and it still doesn't happen, okay, what went wrong? What didn't I do right? What do I need to change again? And let's make another shot at this thing. So that's kind of it's the time frame is something that will lock you into your commitment to getting to what you want to have, because if you don't have the time frame, like John said, I like that someday I'll. that's a great one. I do like that someday I'll. Because yeah, you're not going to have commitment to drive towards something if you're just wishing and hoping, which is what you've been doing all your life to begin with. That's what you have to change. So the time frame is good. It just can't be 100% expected. It's your commitment and your drive to get there, and you're going to get as close as you can get, and that's all you can do. And then you can turn around and make another run at it.
Yep. Before we end here, I just want to mention one more thing.
Amazing.
We talked about the S specific, and you know what? When I heard Paul's explanation, I see more where he's coming from. And we mentioned a specific goal, and he mentioned that he doesn't completely agree with the goal has to be completely 100% specific. And I'm going to say this about that is I do agree, especially for people who are new at goal setting. It's hard when you come and this is the first time you're going to sit down and create goals for yourself. So a generalized goal will become more specific over time, I suppose. Like I knew that I wanted to find a beautiful house for my family to live in. So the goal started as I want a beautiful house. But as it moves forward, I start thinking about what that beautiful house looks like. Everyone, you might say to yourself, I want a new car. Now, great. But before you actually can complete the goal of getting the new car, what kind of car do you want? What color car do you want? So maybe those specific details will get fit in. So I do agree in what Paul was saying there about you could start off with generalities here as a matter of exercise to get started in setting some goals. And as you get better at this and time goes by, you'll see that your goals will start to become more specific And where I say, and in this context, because we're property noodlers, we're wholesalers. People are joining our team for one thing, to make money. So how much money do you want to make? There's where I think you need to be a little bit specific. You know, I have a specific goal in mind for my passive income stream that I want coming in every month, and it's very specific. And the reason it is because it's those dollars are meant to cover X amount of bills with X amount of savings, so I can do X amount of things. So, you know, when it comes to, I think, monetary goals, I feel those need to be specific. But as Paul said, you know what? For a lot of you, this is going to be a new exercise. Start making, if you're having a hard time visualizing your specific goals, create the general goal. And as time goes by, you're going to meditate on these goals and create a more specific, what's the word? A more specific,
more clear, a more refined, a more laser focused.
Defined, laser focused goals. And one of my favorite sayings is clarity leads to power. And you have to be clear on what you want, and that's where the idea specific comes in. So I think this was a great mastermind today. I'm going to let Paul wrap this up. I'm going to toss it back to him, and I'm going to say this was a great mastermind today. You should go back and watch, because one of the awesome things is that life and ideas aren't static. And you can see that Paul and we have a similar idea and about goal setting and vision, but we have some differences. And I think it's important for people to go back and see where Paul and I agree and where we disagree a little bit, because you know what? You may agree even less or disagree even more. I don't know, but everybody's different. And so you can go back and watch this and get a lot out of Paul and I just having slightly different viewpoints to help you create what works for you. So with that, I'm going to toss it back over to Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Everything doesn't resonate with everybody. You know, certain people see things a certain way, feel things. I mean, we all feel and see things a different way from each other. That's just the way we are. You know, we're not sheep, and we don't see the same green grass that the next guy next to me sees. You know what I mean? So the whole idea of what John's saying there is that whoever resonates with you the most, whatever thoughts resonate with you the most, whatever, the whole idea here is just to get started, is to do it. That's the bottom line, okay? And what I started out with saying is, you know, basically, yeah, what is it that you really want? And you can make it specific, make it measurable, make it attainable, make it realistic, put a time limit on it. And this is where you're going to start. This is the beginning, just like the big bubble here. Let's start, you know, reining this thing in. Let's start bringing it in, because that's what this is all about. When you're setting your goals is, especially if you've never done it before, there's a whole lot of stuff there. And you just got to start, you know, roping it in and bringing it in a little bit more. And like John was talking about, the laser focus of these very, very specific, more specific things, and the clarity that goes behind it. That's when, you know, as you start bringing all this information in and narrowing it down, the next thing you know, you're going to know this right here is exactly what I want. To start off with, you probably have no clue exactly what you want. So you're going to be working it in, bringing it in, and this is basically how you're going to start right here. Figure out what it is that you really, really want. Why do you really, really want it? Why don't you already have it? What's wrong with you? and then start to think about, you know, make a list, obviously, and then start to think about, you know, a few of the specifics with these things that you really, really want. And these things start breaking it down, the specifics, the measurability, the attainability, the reality, and the time frame. That's how you start breaking it down and focusing it in. So there you go. There you have it. The beginnings of your goal setting for 2015, because you do want to have goals, and write this stuff down. Get yourself a brand new notebook, something like this, big old fat thing. That's my dream book. That's not my goals book, but get yourself a big old fat notebook and start on page 1. And as you work this thing through, it's going to narrow down and focus on, and you got to write this stuff down, because what goes in here goes right out here and right out here and right out here, and it doesn't stay. You're not going to remember it. You need to write it down. You need to review it. You need to go over it and refine it and bring it down piece by piece. And we're going to be going through that stuff. So this is a great session because, yeah, like John says, it's kind of a mastermind. We have different opinions, but this whole thing is about you got to start somewhere. You got to start with goals. You've got to have a
Yep.
plan. That's the next thing that goals lead to is you developing a plan. First, you got to have the idea of what you want and where it is. Then you got to figure out how you're going to get there. So that's where we're going to be taking this, guys. So with that, John, why don't you go ahead and close the prayer off?
O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches that were given to me at birth through the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I may desire. So come back Friday. You've got to start jotting down some goals, and me and Paul will kind of go through how to create an action plan for attaining those goals. So just start by writing a few things down that you want to accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years, and we'll get into how you can make those dreams and those goals a reality on Friday.
All right, everybody. See ya.